We're lucky to even get in here because if you don't have the right pass, you can't get anywhere near this building. Sparky, first of all, what's so special about this building?
Well, this is really where, I suppose, it is a home, as you say, of the team. It's where all our performance analysis work goes on, where our key briefings and debriefings go on. And we also have quite a lot of our sports science work goes on here. But much more than that, I'm afraid, we can't really tell you, because we do think some of these areas are areas that we're leading in. We do think that they are competitively sensitive. And so unfortunately, you're only going to get a very small view of this facility today.
Thanks, Sparky. Moving on to the competitive side, we're coming to the end of week 1 at the sailing, approaching the very first medal races we're going to get tomorrow. How is the team doing at this point of the regatta?
Yeah, I think it's so far so good, really. You know, that's we just tried to have a steady event, every day being the same, getting everyone into their routines. And that seems to have worked well. Always the first day is always tough for everybody, just getting through the first day, getting the event under, getting those pre-event nerves, particularly for a home game. So there's a huge amount of pressure on the sailors, to do well. And as they are all realistic medal hopes, they know that better than anyone else. They've come here to win gold medals, so they're putting quite a lot of pressure on themselves. So just getting their campaign underway is always the first challenge. So clearly we've done that for everyone now. We're going into the first day of medal races on Sunday with realistic gold medal chances in both of those events, which would be a great start. And then running right through to hopefully the match racing final tail end of next week. We've got, as we said pre-event, we have got some that are doing better and some that are maybe perhaps underperforming by their own standards.
And looking at those medal races now, you virtually can't go anywhere in Weymouth without hearing the name Ben Ainslie. A lot has been said about him, an awful lot of pressure from the media going on him. How's he coping with that?
Yeah, Ben's coping with it very well. I think that of all the sailors in that Finn fleet, he's had to deal with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation for a huge number of years now. I mean, it was 2000 he went into the final race. It wasn't a medal race back then, but the final race in Sydney, where he had that race where he had to beat Robert Scheidt, or at least make sure Robert Scheidt didn't finish in the top 20 places. And that great match race that we saw, well, that is, we're kind of 12 years further on now, and a huge amount more experience that Ben has acquired over that 12 years. He's been world match racing champion in the time. He's done a lot of work on match racing in the America's Cup, a lot more hours in the Finn, better understanding of the boat. He's a better sailor, and he will cope with that pressure very well. And it'll be interesting to see really how the Dane deals with it. And certainly I would still, as we did before, back Ben to the end, and it'll be a really interesting start. I think the start and first leg of the Finn race on Sunday is going to be quite intense.
And maybe conversely, being allowed to get on with their regatta and do their business. Double Olympic gold medalist Ian Percy sailing here with Andrew Simpson, who won the gold medal with in Beijing. They're now guaranteed a medal, if I'm right, and essentially going into their medal race on Sunday. How do we rate their chances?
Well, they've got a few points cushion, so they have got a far better chance as long as they're in touch with the Swedes and particularly the Brazilians, even if they're behind them. But as long as they're in touch with them, then they'll win the gold. I think that they have quietly gone about their business. Part of that's because the media have been very keen to focus on this battle between the Danes and Ben in the Finn. But of course, when Ian wins, which I'm sure he will, his third gold medal, that immediately puts him into a very elite group of athletes across all sport that have ever won 3 gold medals. And to win 3 gold medals across 4 games it's a fantastic achievement in terms of longevity of performance at the very top end of your sport. And that's with Andrew Simpson, who at that time will become a double Olympic gold medalist if they convert on Sunday. And again, 2 successive goals, defending in the Star. Incredibly impressive performance, and puts him right up there amongst the best and most successful medaling sailors in the world from any country. So we do have to be careful that with all the media interest that's going around Ben, that that those guys aren't forgotten, that they are amongst the best sailors in the world, and will be amongst the best and most decorated sailors in the world if they win gold on Sunday.
How does the physical conditioning of our athletes here compare maybe to a cyclist or a runner?
I think that the sailors, in terms of the physical condition, are actually pretty similar to a cyclist or a runner. It's just that they're training for slightly different areas. So it's pretty obvious when you look at cycling. They sit on the bike and they turn the pedal, so they've got to be fit. They want to be lean, and they want to have strong legs and be able to create a lot of power through the cranks. Where with sailing, depending on the type of boat that they're sailing, they need to have lots of different types of fitness. So if it's a 49er, you do need to have strength, particularly if you're the crew, but you then need to have a good agility and good speed about the boat. Where with a fin, you need to have a lot more leg strength, arm strength, back strength to be able to pump upwind and downwind and really push that heavyweight boat through every single wave. So yeah, it can become incredibly physical, and there's no doubt that you have to be in that top few sailors fitness-wise if you really want to deliver a result at the Olympic Games.
And coming back to some of the performances, a couple of the classes started substantially later than Ben and Ian did. How does our Team GB environment that you run help those sailors? Because both those crews have got off to fantastic starts. Is it the environment that you provide for them?
I think that the reason they've got off to fantastic starts is because they're actually fantastic sailors. I think that we would hope that the environment and the backup and the support that we provide helps create that platform for success. But ultimately, it's down to the skill, the talent, the flair of the sailor at the end of the day. I think one of the things that we do well that you inferred to is that by having a very tight environment, having a good and regular system of operation, and everybody knows what they're going to get, and we've got a really tight and in terms of friendship group of sailors and support staff, that makes sure that we can maintain the comfort level of the sailors from the first day that the first person races till the last day that the last person races through the course of the regatta. And we're pretty keen to make sure that we maintain that level, so that those sailors that are racing in that second week aren't then the only ones that are left while the majority of the rest of the team are either out partying or drowning their sorrows, and it becomes a bit of an emotional roller coaster. We want to treat that emotional level and make sure that it's logic that is determining our decision making every day and that then reflects on the sailors and what we expect them to do each day.
You mentioned there quite a lot about our support staff, our coaches, our physios, the chef. Are they the unsung heroes of our team?
I think that I believe we've got the best support staff in the business. I suppose I would say that anyway, but I think that they provide an incredible backup and support to the sailors, either just to give them confidence in their decisions, some of the analysis that goes on through the course of racing. We have people now sitting in other rooms in this building, analysing, watching all the live feed and some of the feed that's not live of all the images that we can get, looking at every single manoeuvre, watching all the tracking from all the GPS tracking that's available to us, and making sure that we're in a position, should we have a protest, should we have an injury, should we have an issue, that we have all the evidence to hand to maximise our potential in terms of an outcome, whether that be preparing people. If we see somebody who's injured on the water, we're then able to prepare the back office staff, the sports science staff, to be able to receive that person, make sure we've got the right medics in the right place to be able to treat it appropriately. If it's a rules incident, to make sure that by the time the sailors get ashore, we've got all the evidence, we've got all the video, we've considered all the relevant rules, we can brief the sailor appropriately and have an informed discussion about how we then need to approach that within the time limit that exists. And of course, as everyone knows, an army lives on its stomach. We have some fantastic catering staff. We have the sailors have a huge range of diets, from our 470 sailors who are really eating very tight calorie controlled diets, trying to Make sure that they keep particularly the helms, their weight nice and low. Where by contrast, we've got the star guys who are trying to continually, like cyclists, struggling to put on and maintain weight. So they're always looking for high calorie input, high calorie food, but making sure that that's food that's going to help support, develop, maintain muscle rather than just put on fat. And our chef has to be able to deal with all those ranges and need to deal with it at all stages of the day and night. So they're doing a fantastic job, and I think that all of that just helps to keep the guys' morale up, make sure that they're as good as they possibly can be, that their batteries are recharged, and that they're as strong on the final day of the event as they are on the first.
And thinking about home games now, quite a bit's been said about home games' advantage, but also home games' disadvantages. Are we seeing any of that come to fruition, and how are our sailors' experiences of that home games going?
I think in the main, the experiences are pretty good. I think that the sailors that have sailed on the North Course have really enjoyed the spectators and the support that they're getting. I would say that they haven't necessarily enjoyed the quality of the sailing as much because the wind has been incredibly shifty and random there, so they haven't enjoyed that aspect so much. But certainly in terms of home support, that has been really good. I think the downside, of course, is that with the home games and also being the favourite nation, we are the target in the middle of everyone's dartboard, and so I think, as we've seen both with other sports and ourselves, that given an opportunity, there are plenty of other nations that are keen to try and take GBR down, to knock us off our perch, if you like, and that, of course, is one of the downsides of being a successful team and being one of the favourites going in. But on the whole, I think that the sailors have massively appreciated this home support, and that's perhaps the thing that is overriding in terms of the positives or negatives, and hopefully we'll get people really just pulling together that final ounce of strength, that final correct decision to get that final wave to get them over the finish line where they need to be to maintain or gain their medals as they get to the medal races.